Good morning, everybody. I would like to welcome you all at our next webinar prepared by the European Gymnastics Trampoline TC. My name is Vladimír Zeman and I'm the president of the TC. And I'm really happy to have you here again. We have already provided webinars and you can find the videos from these webinars either on the European Gymnastics website, what is a bit more complicated, or on the European Gymnastics YouTube channel, what is very simple. Just now you need to go through the videos a bit farther because the European Championships videos are also there, but you can find the older webinars as well. Today, we would like to present you a specific topic related to the preparation of the gymnastics and gymnasts in difficult time. Our expert for today is Ana Bispo Ramires, who is a sports and performance psychologist and behavior consultant. She is working not only athletes and coaches and judges from sports, including football, what is interesting in Portugal, but also with artists, dancers, managers, and all the people, also from military. As behavior consultant and coach, she worked with more than 18,000 people in various companies. I need to say I have seen the list of the companies and some names are really known worldwide. She's also author of many articles and chapters of national and international books in the area of sport psychology. She is also clinical and sport psychologist of the Portuguese Olympic Committee. Welcome, Ana.
Thank you.
I will stop sharing. Welcome, Ana.
Thank you very much, Vladimir.
Some words before your presentation.
I didn't understand.
Would you like to say some words, some introduction, short introduction before your presentation?
Yeah. Well, it's an honor to be here with you, with all of you, sharing my experience in the performance field. Because I think that this kind of meetings, this kind of situation, this kind of occasions make us all more and more able to cope with different situations that we have in our daily life. So it's very important, and it's an honor for me to be here working with you in this presentation that I'm going to give today. Thank you very much.
Thank you as well. And the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I'm going to share the screen. So. Okay, let's start then. Well, when I was first invited to be here with you today, the main idea was to talk about this kind of phenomena that we've been living nowadays. But as I was telling Vladimir and Luis, this is not a new phenomena. In fact, we have this kind of situation that uncertainty is all around us all day. So these difficult times that we are living just make us more aware that, in fact, we have to cope better and to deal better with this kind of situations. But let's talk a little bit about this. When we are working in the field of sports performance, there's a myth, there's a huge goal that all of us wants to pursue, and I'm talking about medical teams, sports psychologists, coaches, athletes, that is trying to understand how we can put our athletes in this flow performance, in this flow mindset that will be a huge step for them to have optimal performance. And when we are talking about this, we are always trying to improve and be more efficient in very in different ways, like being making better preparation, trying to work their level of confidence, of motivation, of arousal level. That is a trigger that not all athletes know how to manage this kind of tool, how they focus on the things that are important to the tasks that they have in front of them, and how they felt and are aware of the way they progress and the effort they do to progress even more. And so this is like our core focus in trying to help our athletes to progress more and more each day. However, we have this kind of situation daily, but we have a huge number of disturbance factors that are all around us all day long, and that we must deal with it too. And if we don't cope with them, they will probably block our goals. And I bring some samples, like the ecosystems that are around us, the family systems of our athletes, the way that the coach and medical team communicate and work together, that is very important, mainly in the injury situations. The sports-life balance of athletes, that is a huge concern today, helping them to understand that being a sport elite athlete, it's a 24-hour job. The sense of perceived security that we must work focus in the inner strength of the athletes and not in the external issues, and some personality traits that may compromise or not the ability to the athletes to cope and to evolve in the way that we want. So when we are talking about uncertainty, are there some facts that I bring to you that it's important for us to understand? Just some samples, just for us to understand how daily is this phenomenon in our lives. It can emerge when we have some conflict interest with other significant areas of our life, like academics, when we are talking about youth athletes. The perception of having or not opportunities, being in a better entourage, feeling that I am the coach's choice, feeling that I will have the opportunity to being a part of the national team, knowing that the effort that I do today will bring the outcome that I desire. And this is an issue very important, because many athletes that have cognitive anxiety transform their thinking pattern like a washing machine, always questioning, always trying to understand if they are doing all the things that they want. And this will be a phenomenon of anxiety and not a phenomenon of performance that we must be aware of. Injury issues that we must work with them, because injury is a part of the sport process, and coping with injury in an efficient way is one of the most skilled issues that the athletes must achieve. And even the opponent's ability or the conditions that they train, that we understand when we look that they will have better opportunities. So these kind of situations may affect our perceived security. And just for you to know, that is, I think it's very interesting. Just in the competition situation, we have more than 6 other possible disturbance factors. So if we were aware of all of them, we will freeze and we will do nothing in the competition. And this is like a defense mechanism that we don't are aware of all of them. But the thing is that the only way that we have to deal with this, to cope with this better, and this is my main message today for you, it's working our inner strength, because that's the only thing that we can control, okay? But we are going to talk a little bit about this. So when we are talking about this kind of feeling that I don't know if I'm secure enough, I don't know what is happening, I don't know how I will cope with something, I want you to understand that in first issue is that the normal response, the default response of the human being, is triggered with anxiety or with stress, okay? So this is normal. It's normal that we have this kind of this kind of response immediately when we feel that we are not security enough. And this default response is under our skin always, okay? So the thing that triggers this response is how we perceive our security. And again, the only way that we feel confident enough is if we have confidence in our tools to deal and to cope with the issues that are around us. So I want to make clear to you that this kind of intolerance to uncertainty, the need for search for secure things, most of the times out of us, it's the natural property, and it's worked when we are becoming better and better in our inner secure factors. Okay, so this kind of situation can be triggered by a set of issues, like if you have an athlete that is that have high anxiety threat, be aware that probably in some kind of situation, an injury, a judge that you don't like, and it came in the day of the competition, a transportation that I don't pick at the right time, any kind of situation that put in danger my sense of security. If your athletes have high anxiety threat, probably you will give a stress response. When athletes have high result expectations, and this is the I think that is a huge fight that we have all day long, because society, sports train us to look at the result, and it's like if you have a huge muscle that is thinking about the result and not in the process that we want to do to get the result. So when you have extremely focused in the result only, the probability that you have this kind of a response is higher. Low perception of control, okay? We are always begging for security outside of us. If we can't focus in the things that we manage, okay? And we are always looking at our coach's feedback, our judgment feedback, what our parents say, if things that we can't control, daily life routines that are not planned to serve our sport goals, the resilience protection factor that I don't work, I'm going to I don't work it like a plan, and I must do it for having more and more tools to be able to cope with stressful things, like an injured, very important in our career. And this issue that for me it's normal, because I'm a sports psychologist and I deal with this a lot. The emotional literacy of our athletes that is very low nowadays. Okay, this means that in this, it's more evident in younger athletes, because younger athletes are being more and more technological, able to work with, much more cognitive aptitude, but in emotions we are starting to have even more difficulties. Okay, because athletes, if you ask an athlete what he's feeling in that moment, it's very common that they don't know to name it. And if you don't know how to name it, what are you feeling? How can you cope with it? How can you go to another emotional state? So the thing is, these kind of situations, these kind of issues, if you have more than one, more than two, become like a time bomb. And when we have this kind of situations all together, we must understand that it's very, very possible that our athletes will have an anxiety response. So if we think about Olympic Games, and this is well studied, and I bring this to you because we are almost there, there are even different issues that may disturb the athlete's ability to cope with the competition setting. Things like it's a setting that have an endless stress factors list, but look what I put in red, not only for athletes, but for coaches and support teams, where I include the medical team, the staff, the sports psychologist that is in the team. So we must understand that all these kind of situations that we are talking about here, it's not exclusively for the athletes, but all the people that are around them. And in a setting like Olympic Games, it is very important that all of us will be able to manage our emotions and our anxiety, just not to compromise the work that we have been doing in the past 4 years. So I just bring you some samples of different situations that athletes talk about in the setting of the Olympic Games. And what you have here, you have the changing of routines, you have a routine that has less freedom of movement. In Tokyo, no movement at all. It will be a huge challenge for our athletes. The self-imposed and perceived need for a given result. I want a medal. I want to bring a medal to my country. Even the unexpected, unmanaged boredom that some of them experience when they are more time in the Olympic Village, because it's funny when it's a new thing, but when you must have this kind of routine for 1 week or 2 weeks, it's heavier. So the thing is, and again, look what they told us. They told us that it's a huge stress factor that they have to manage the high levels of anxiety of coaches, directors, and staff that in that kind of moment emerge like this, and they aren't expecting them, and they must deal with it when they wish just to focus on competition. So this is very important for us to understand. And we are talking about Olympic Games, but this is in some way noticed in World Championships, European Championships, in all that kind of competition that we aimed to go to, and we have emotions, very strong emotions that we want to be there and to bring a result home. These all get bigger, okay? So when we are talking about top performing athletes, what the scientific research told us is that they have some kind of toolbox. I just bring some of this kind of skills that they have, this toolbox that they work with when they are in front of competition situation. What is different from athlete to athlete is the level of control that they have in this kind of skills. If you take a picture of any kind of athlete that is in the World Championship, or European Championship, or Olympic Games, they will probably have this kind of skills, but like a volume button, probably they are in different levels of ability to control it in this situation, the performance situation, the competition situation, here and not elsewhere. So I bring you a sample that is very interesting for me, because I think it was like a huge sample for sports psychology and the importance of systematic and planned training in sports psychology. That is the some risk factors that if you don't train it, if you don't plan the acquisition of mental health, the acquisition of mental and emotional skills, in fact, not always you will be able to trigger the button and to put it on the right place. Okay, this came in the final of the US Open in tennis 2018. It was a huge sample because it was possible to measure how can this cost, because Serena lost $3 million because she couldn't be able to bring back her to performance level. So we look to Serena, and we know that Serena is a huge athlete. She has a huge toolbox of skills, but in that situation, she was surprised for the commentary of the judge. She couldn't cope with that, and she couldn't bring herself to the competition issues again, and so she lost the game. And this is a huge picture of what we can compromise when we haven't the mental and emotional skills well trained for us to put them in action when we need to do it. Okay, so some risk factors in this population too. I will not go very long with this, because I think that all of you understand this kind of situations. I just want you to know that this kind of situation assume more and more risk when they are prolonged in time, because athletes experience high frustration levels. They have more predominance of negative affect, and they probably will compromise the absence of mental health. Another thing that is very important, that when you are talking about flow performance, you must have two variables, that is enthusiasm and intensity. So if you look to the right corner of the screen, if you have more predominance of negative effect, you are not working the enthusiasm in your daily life. So the thing is that you probably won't be able to express and feel flow emotions in competition, and you're going to be always in sub performance. Okay, so I was when I was invited to be here with you, I thought that it was a good opportunity for us to talk about the case study of COVID pandemic. Why? Because I think it was a huge opportunity for us to understand that the uncertainty is there, it's around us, and we must deal with it. COVID pandemics just knock at our doors and made us more aware that we don't control nothing that is out of us, and that in fact, if we are aware of, if you are searching security outside, it will be wrong, and our daily life will be heavier. And that was what happened in the first days, because we had some misleading information, like the complexity of the illness, what you can do, use the mask, don't use the mask, you can go out, you can't go out. So were bombarded with a huge number of information that made us all very anxious and and put us in very stressful situations. So we observed mainly in the population of sports women and sportsmen that there was some emotional disturbance. But notice that at the first time, at the first moments, this emotional disturbance, it's desirable because it's healthy that we express the negative emotions, because we are getting more and more information that will confound us and not help us. The perceived life-threatening situation, the confinement situation that we all must have to adapt, and the loss of their routines, and in our athletes, the emotional impairment and the loss of the athletic identity. Just understand that our athletes, many of them gave us a huge lesson about how to cope with this. And we must learn with them, and we must try to understand that, in fact, even when the Olympic postponement was dictated by the organization, there were different ways to deal with it. Yes, many athletes became like confusion of what was happening around them, but and many of them lived it like and with a negative effect. But look at it, many of them look at it like an opportunity for performance improvement and recovery. And this is the thing, okay? This is the thing. COVID brings us an opportunity that the experience of COVID is just a situation, like it's an injury, like it's a problem with our family when we aren't expected. That is an issue that is happening out of us, and we make things. We can make things with this kind of situation. This kind of situation will challenge us to put our efforts to resolve it, and the challenge that we have is learn to work with the unknown. Okay, and I like a lot of this picture, because I always remember my open waters athletes that become more anxious when they can see the sea, what is happening beneath them. So this is a kind of situation that we don't know what is happening, but we must understand that, as the photo shows you, you can bring light to the unknown. And how can you do it? You can do it about working your pre-existing conditions. If COVID situation surprised us and made us feel insecure, then this is a huge information for us that we must work on our pre-existing conditions for all kinds of situations that bring us in the context of uncertainty. So what are we talking about our pre-existing conditions to all kinds of uncertainty situations? Things like sports life balance that, as I told you earlier, it's a huge issue nowadays that we must work with our athletes. The nutritional routine and the sleep hygiene of the athletes, that is the battery life of our athletes. Our battery life is where we are going to pick our energy to cope even better with our emotional skills. So when we have this kind of conditions work well, when we put this, we prioritize this in our life, you can be secure that whatever will happen to you, you will have more tools to challenge yourself to transform a situation that you can, in the first step, understand as a danger situation, like an opportunity for you to improve yourself. Okay, and this happens a lot with our national athletes that use confinement situation, as I was telling to Luis and Vladimir, use confinement situation to put their attention on that little things that in the daily life they don't have time to work with, in the routines that they want to improve to become even better after confinement. And in Portugal, we had some athletes that even broke records just after confinement. No one was expecting that kind of situation. So the thing is, the challenge, it's like, what are you going to do with the situation? Imagine your sports club dispenses you. Your coach is going away. It's being fired. You are injured. It's so many questions, so many situations that can challenge us. That the thing always is, you must understand, you must remember that a situation is neutral, it's blank, okay? The things that you are going to do with the situation, it is going to make you go to the positive effect of it or the negative effect of it, okay? So the thing of seeing half empty or half full when you are in front of a situation is always the stress process that we have in our brain, okay? So what is happening in situations like we have here, okay? Many times things don't went well because we try to work our soft skills, but we don't are aware about our self-sabotage skills. And we must we must engage in a profound knowing of ourselves, just to know how what can I do when I want to accomplish something, but what is working under my skin that don't make me go further and further. Back to Serena Williams, the photo that I bring you. When we talk about self-sabotage, we are talking about an issue that she has, that is when she is questioned about her values, she goes blind and she can't cope with it. So if I know myself, and if I know that if I'm questioned about my values, I go like this and I block my performance, then I must work with it, okay? So all of us have some kind of self-sabotage skill that many times are very strong, even stronger than our soft skills. I will give you a sample. Many years ago, I had a handball athlete that all people around her were telling her that she was going to be a huge athlete in the future. But the positive pressure that we put in our athletes, many times it's very big and much more difficult to deal with it than if you put negative pressure, because if all people around us are keep telling us that we are good, that you are going to do this and this and that, in my mind I start thinking that I'm going to decept these people. I'm going to have a deception situation with them, and I don't want to hurt them. So many times athletes go under their ability to perform because they block in this kind of situation, and they prefer not to have their optimal performance because in that kind of way they are not making people having expectations about them. This is not a conscious process. It's very unconscious, and is one of the things that we must work with with our athletes. So it's very important to work the soft skills, but it's very important or even important to work the self-sabotage skills, as I name it. Okay, let me see. So picking the sample of COVID, now we are in a pre-COVID. If you pick up the word COVID, but we are in the in Portugal, at least, because in Portugal things are went well nowadays. We are always or in crisis or pre-crisis. So when we are in pre-crisis, like today, we must try to understand that all our lives is going to be this, and that's that's not a problem. Okay, it's the wave that make us want more and bring more knowledge and have more tools, and it's normal that this happens, and it's life. So what we must understand is that we must anticipate the things that could happen to us, try to understand the skills that we have and transfer them from different contexts and learn new skills. Because if we work well, if in our sporting process we are working always in a way to have more and more tools in our toolbox to deal with this kind of situation, with this uncertainty situation, during and after the situation, we are going to leave it more and more in an easier way. Okay, so when we are talking about crisis management, we are talking about prepare ourselves for life, not for a crisis, for life. A crisis, it's a part of life, so we must deal with it and try to understand it with natural, like a natural thing, and not a thing that we must run for. What do we want to work with? The athlete's mental health, the athlete's emotional literacy, and the athlete's mental skills. When we are athletes, the athletes well prepared in this kind of toolbox, we will probably have better options to be successful. What are we talking about? Working in self-control, working in the way that I can respond to others, and working in the way that I respond to events out of me. If you look at this, we are always focused in our ability to manage myself with others, and manage myself with an event that is outside of me. And this is the basis of the question, and this is the focus of the question. That probably the most important message that I can bring to you today. That is this must be our focus in life, because here remains our opportunity to evolve, our opportunity to become more and more able to cope with any kind of situation. And imagine sudden success is to a situation that can surprise us and can make us deal bad with it. Okay, not only bad situations can put us in danger, in the sense of in danger, successful situations can also inhibit our performance, our behavior, in hope to cope with it well. So we must understand that we must know ourselves even better each day for us to be able to have success in our daily life. Okay, and this is a question. I bring you one of the photos of our national teams, and just for you to understand that there is no recipe of how to do it. It's like a Rubik cube where each of them must try to understand how their own variables, their characteristics, the way they cope with external challenge, how can they put it together? How can they make it work? Okay, and this is the huge challenge for life, not for them, but for us also, and for all the people, because life is this. How can I cope with me, with other people, and with events. And if we can, and if we bring this challenge in life in a daily basis, probably you will have very much fulfillment, sense of life. Okay, what happens very quickly when we are confronted with the situation that defies our ability to cope with it? Well, I'm going to give you a sample. Luis Nunes and Vladimir invited me to make this presentation for you. So I have the invitation, and the invitation has some issues that I must attend to and some questions that I must respond to. One of them is that I must feel comfortable in talking in English. As you understand, and my English, it's a little rusty, and the perception of my this kind of situation, that my English is a little rusty, could bring me to a situation of anxiety or activation. Let's do it, okay? So I evaluate the situation and what the situation is asking of my skills, of my toolbox skills. I look to the confidence that I have in my skills, in this case, that I have in my English, that I have in this kind of presentation. And if I evaluate this kind of balance, like positively, I will talk to you, and this is what I'm doing now. But if in any moment I was like, I don't know if I can deal with it, probably I will tell, I had tell Luis and Vladimir, thank you very much, but I have no agenda. So we are always doing this kind of things in life. If we have an injury, what is asking to me, what is asking for me, what can I do, how can I cope with the competition, with a new coach, with a new medical team. All kind of changes in our life put us in this kind of process of evaluating what can I do, how can I cope with it, have I the tools. The thing is, it's not supposed that you have always the tools. And the next best thing is trying to understand and to remember that you don't need to have all the tools, but you do need to have the skill to ask for help, or to ask for help in a manner to where can I will learn this new skill that I need. Okay, so what to do? Let me see the time. Yes. So pandemics put us, like any kind of uncertainty, in this kind of way in the first moment that, whoa, what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this or this. Who can help me? What can I bring from this to me? So the thing is, if we are in a neutral position and we can, if we put ourselves in the situation that is, okay, what is there for me? What can I do? How can I evolve about this restraint, about this situation? Okay. In fact, the thing is that in any kind of difficulty in life, in any kind of constraint, there are always opportunities. Okay. So the challenge is to look for them, to establish a goal with them and pursue them. Okay. So in sports psychology, what do you think? What are our goals in this kind of situation? Well, as I told you earlier, when we talk about top performance, the thing is that we must understand that top performance is not the athlete, but all the person, and we must attend and we must develop skills in all areas of the life of an athlete. Because if you think of youth athlete, sorry, if you are thinking about a young athlete, if we can manage their emotion to work some kind of skills in the academic settings, in fact, we are training them to sport context. And if you can converge all the areas of the life of the athlete to a main goal, you will have a better prepared athlete. So we must understand that we must work with a whole person and not just the sporting person. Okay, so the thing, just like just to give you an example, when you are talking about emotional literacy, many times there are simple things that we must bring to them, like helping them to invest in personal time to make that kind of balance that we need for them to have. Because social support network, it's a huge tool for them to deal with uncertainty settings. Try to organize and plan their daily life, namely the exposure to social networks, and we could be here talking 3 hours about this, about the emotional anesthesia that this kind of situation bring to our athletes. And if we want them to experience flow, then they don't, it's very important for them not to train anesthesia, okay? And in many ways, the better way is to invest in emotional skills training specialists in mental health or sports psychologists that we can bring and we should bring to our teams, because this multidisciplinary approach to sport is very important, and it's very important for us to be aware of it. So when we think about control, I brought you here a lot of things just for you to understand. Where do I put my goal? Where do I put my efforts to train our athletes? It's in the green circle, because in fact it's the things that they can train to control better, okay? In the orange circle, he can only try to influence, and the other circle, it's just not for us to look at, to invest time, because if we have athletes that have their focus in the larger circle, we will have very much problems in evolving, in gaining opportunity, in being better athlete in any kind of situation that is in front of them. Okay, what can you do to let me the hours? Reframing. Our brain is addicted to make significance of events. This is happening because of this. This is happening because of this. So we must understand that our brain is always trying to make some kind of significance of what is happening around us. So we must be aware, and we must understand that natural propension of our brain, and try to make a conscious training, reframing what is happening in our brain. Okay, so the first thing is uncertainty. It's a part of life. Stop. Okay, it's a part of life, and the thing is that we must stop when we feel that our emotions are creating inside of us, that we are becoming disturbed. Then we must try to stop, try to understand what is happening to me, what I'm feeling, and let's try to give another way, give another path to these things that I'm feeling. So the thing is, try to the two major things that I could tell you now. It's very important. Two things: focus on what you control. Focus searching for the opportunity that is in front of you, and talk with your resilience tribe. This resilience tribe is your friendship, is your family. It's very important for us to have some kind of stakeholders of our life that bring us this kind of security. This I can work. this I can control when I am investing in relationships with a positive effect around me. So the thing is, it's very important for us to be curious, to challenge what we are thinking, try to focus on what we can control, and surround ourselves with our resilient tribe in person or in digital way. Okay. Psychoemotional training, understanding that this is a muscle that I must train, a muscle that I must put in my daily routine, and that I want to get better. How can we do this? Being more aware of the situations that define me, where I give responses that don't help me to compete better. When I'm aware of the weakness of the skills that I'm not so strong, then I can, in real time, trying to get situations where I can train our self-regulation to get better in the skills that I want to manage better in my life. Okay, so try to put these three things in your life, that is self-awareness, self-regulation, and looking at situations that daily life issues as a training opportunity that I must bring to myself, just wondering, what can I do differently here? Okay, so what are we talking about? We are talking that if we engage this circle of training, inevitably we are going to have higher levels of emotional skills, more and more on our progressing career. Okay, so this is very important for us to try to understand, to integrate this in the process of the efforts. What can we do too? And this is very important, and I'm almost finishing, I hope. I like a lot of this picture, because this picture shows us how our brain works. Okay, our left side of the brain is what you use it most at school, at training sessions, at analytical training sessions, because you are always putting by steps what you want to do. But in the right side of the brain, you have the passion, you have the energy, you have the enthusiasm, you have the motion. You here, in this kind of functioning, is where the flow experience occurs. Okay, so the thing is, if we have an athlete with 20 years, if this was a real photo, you will watch a left side of the brain like this, and right side of the brain like this, because left side of the brain is trained in a huge number of settings, school, work, sports, and so ever. But the other side of the brain works only when you are competing, only when you are imagining. So it's not so well trained, and we must put it in our daily experience for our athletes to have more and more competence in this kind of issues. Okay, so how can we do it? We can do it during our training sessions, given moments of high arousal and enthusiasm. It's very important for us to understand that if we want our athletes to experience enthusiasm in competition, they must felt enthusiasm in training sessions, and they must be aware of it, because and to be aware of it, they must recognize it. And here we are going again talking about the emotional literacy of their ability to express it, to feel it, and to acknowledge it. Okay, so how can we do it? Doing some ecological training, simulating competition training, putting them in the situation that they are going to experience in competition. Okay, so what we want that they have moments where they train this sense of situations for them to make that kind of experience like a aha moment. Yes, it's that I want, because that kind of situation is what we want them to reproduce in the competition situation. Okay, so in fact, when you talk about difficulties in life, when you talk about uncertainty, when you talk about crisis, when you talk about all kinds of things that try to bring us to ground, in fact, there's an opportunity and a challenge that we must understand to work our coping skills, to work, and this is very important, our frustration management skills, that we are not good enough at it, and trying to work with this kind of situation, that we must understand a crisis like an opportunity, always. Okay, so in the end, the thing is, it's important to recognize your strength. It's important to recognize that your emotions and thoughts are trainable. It's important to identify the skills you must acquire. It's a challenge. It's an opportunity to challenge your discomfort and sources of stress. And it is important to be able to have a new pattern of behavior, that being curious, like a cat. What is here for me? How can I improve myself? What can I bring to me? Okay, and if I can't do it alone, ask for professional help. That is very important. And in most of times, athletes such as in a crisis moment, and it's a way for trying to put this kind of training in the daily routines of the athletes. In fact, it's important to understand that human beings have an endless list of internal and external resources, and it's our own responsibility, of the athletes, of the coaches, of all the people that is in this kind of entourage, to build up our resilience. And this is a huge opportunity to build up our resilience. Okay, so I will end, Luis and Vladimir, with a little thing that I wish to note to you, that when we are talking about coping with adversity, this is a team challenge of all of us. Okay, and it is important to understand that we can't ask an athlete to cope with it well if we have the rest of the team not coping well with it, because as they will look at us, and if we are not doing well, they are going to compromise their own perception of success. So the thing is, if we talk about of excellence in sports, and we must try to use all kinds of contests of the athletes to be better, to improve themselves, to pick all the crises to growth and growth again, then we must understand that it's always, it's in the same way true to our coaches, our medical team, our staff, and all entourage around the athletes. And this is a issue that is not so often talked about, and I think that we must put it in the table and talk about it, because we have a huge influence in our athletes, and if we aren't well, they will be prejudiced about it. Okay, so the thing is that in fact we are all a part of a multidisciplinary team. We must work together. We must see the Athletes Global Health as a huge stakeholder of excellence and performance, and we are the tool for this to happen. We must try to be better, not only in our technical skills, but also in our soft skills. And we must understand another thing that I wish to establish here too, and I wish to thank, namely to Claire, that we are seeing her, that we have a lot of partners in Prime that, as I kindly name it, that are people that don't appear, but that make us work. And this is the back office teams that we have in sports, and the families that support all the teams, coaches, medical, athletes, that are hugely important in sports too. Thank you very much. I think it's all. Shall I stop the share, Luis? Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yes. Okay. Speaker view. Okay. So Anna, thank you very much. For me, it was very interesting, also because of you are coming from outside our community. That means we like also to have the experience and the knowledge from outside, because the world is open, and we feel also we need to be open and accumulate the information also from the people having experience in other parts of the life or other sports, etc. So thank you very much. At that moment, if you don't mind, we would like to start the questions and answers section.
Yeah, of course.
Please, participants, use the questions and answers section to write your question if you have any.
Can I start?
Yes, please.
No, that's just because you gave me the opportunity to also talk and to the participants and to Ana. Of course, I knew, I've heard Ana several times with all the things that the Portuguese Olympic Committee have done the last couple of years. And it's always very interesting what Ana is telling us. But I never saw this the picture of the left side and the right side of the brain, and I found it very funny because when in the moment that I saw the picture and I saw this this glass on the right side of the brain, for me is this glass means party. And I immediately thought, this is me. I'm on the right side of the brain. So this is also, but you can you tell me a little bit more about that you said that most of the younger athletes, they were on the left side because they were building new things, they were learning. Did I understood it right?
Yeah, in fact, most of us have a left side too trained, and a very few opportunities to express the right side. The right side is more often activated in youth, in children, because they play, because they heard music. They are a lot playful than grown people. When we are growing, we are getting serious about things. And when our athletes lose the joy of things, they are compromising the things, the performance that they want to went well in competition. So it's very important, if we know that society and even the sports process will train better the left side, because they must repeat, because they must correct this and correct this and correct this. So it's very analytical, mainly in technical sports. It's very important for coaches to put an effort to have training sessions where they can activate the right side of the brain. That is the question.
Yeah. So this leads us to another thing that I also find very interesting, and for the Olympic experience that I have, and this was one of the things that for our first participation in 2004, when I spoke with Sidónio Serpa. This was one of the biggest things, and it's always in my mind, is the external stress factors. So it's not our competition. It's not the participants or the guys that are going to compete with us. It's everything else. It's the village. It's the fact that you get to get a picture with the Usain Bolt or Serena Williams or with Michael Phelps. You can have a picture or you can have breakfast with them. So this is a huge factor of stress, or the fact that you get tickets to see the other events. So this was one of the main things. Would you agree with that?
Yes, obviously. Many athletes, Luis, don't come to the village before they compete. They stay outside the village until the day of competition, and then they come to the village because they know of all the factors that may disturb their focus and their attention. And in fact, even the opening ceremony, not in Tokyo, but it's a huge flow of energy. You are going to lose a huge amount of energy that probably you will need 1 or 2 days after. So it's a compromise decision what to do or not to do. And when you are in the first experience of Olympics, it's like a huge situation to live it.
Yeah. I don't know if we have any questions, Vladimir.
If just to finish, it's very difficult for you to see some broken records in Olympics. It's not common, because athletes when came to Olympic Games, all the resources are not probably in the optimal zone. Okay, to make that kind of situations. They established the records on European Championships, on World Championships, but in Olympics, it's not so often to see. Okay, and probably it's a bit for that too.
For us, it's a completely different competition. For us, we have at the Olympics, we have this huge dome with 12 or 13,000 people, and normally we don't have that. Although we have big domes for
how to cope with that.
Yes.
To cope with that.
I remember, I can share this with you and with all the participants. I remember that in London, my gymnast, she was going after the English girl. So imagine, so the dome was completely full. We had around 12,000 people cheering. And imagine the noise that it was after the girl performed, and after she got the score. So, and normally she had good scores, and it was really, really interesting, because as coaches, when we are there, we don't exactly think about what we are going to say, and we just or at least that's what I do. I go with the flow, and I try to analyze what is the needs that my gymnasts, what they need for me to tell them. And it was funny after the first, so she was going for the first routine, and I hear all this noise, and I said to my gymnast, to Ana Renta, and I said to her, you have two ways. Either you get all this noise and you put yourself inside a shell and you are shy and you go down, or you excel this and you get this for more motivation, and this is something that will push you forward to stand up for
it's always the thing that is in front of us. What will you do with this situation? Will you make it an opportunity, or are you going to inhibit your behavior? But Luis, that's in life.
Exactly. But I also know that I cannot tell this to all my gymnasts. I know that for some gymnasts that would have a totally opposite result, or at least I had to say it in a different way. But to her, I knew that if I tell her, that will give her, that will trigger, you know, when you go on and you put the button up, and she would look at me and she said, I'm going to fight for it. And she stand up on the podium for the competition, and it was really good. So and the Olympic Games is really something completely different. Vladimir, I don't know if there's any questions.
I need to unmute first. There's no question at the moment, but sorry, I would have a question. Ana, we are talking about Olympic Games. We spoke about European or World Championships and the top competitions, but it's like a pyramid. We are on the top of the pyramid, but we need to care about the people who are on the way. Let's say the kids who are 13, 14, 12 years old for the national championships or national competitions, etc., etc. Would you like to highlight something also for such gymnasts and coaches and groups, etc.?
Well, at that stage, it's there's a huge opportunity for us to work with them. That is to take the value of the competitions off, because I was telling you that athletes respond to European, World, or Olympic Games in this manner because they were trained to, right? So the thing is, if we can bring our athletes to understand that each training session, each competition, distrital, national, it's more an opportunity to improve, to have feedback, to identify what is. If you can train them that all of this is a training process, in the future we will have athletes that will compete much better. Because the thing is, you have one European Championship, you have one World Championship, and you have in 4 years one Olympic Games. And nowadays athletes, it's like they put all the coins in these kind of situations, and that's the error, because we must try to put our athletes, and again the enthusiasm in the training sessions and the need to compete with themselves. The only adversary, it's me, not the guys or the girls that are around me. If we can train our athletes to put their efforts in what they control, that is the motivation, the engagement that they have in daily sessions, then we will have senior athletes much more successful in all kinds of competitions. So when we are working with young people, I think that is a privilege, because we are in the right moment to helping them to have the better procedures.
And
I think they are the future.
Yeah. And one more question, please. What do you think is the area in their life or environment or preparation that could be improved more than the other parts? What is a bit late at the moment?
I don't know how things are worldwide. I have better knowledge in Portugal. I think that there must be a huge investment training emotional and mental skills on coaches and medical teams, okay? Because in fact they support our athletes. And a coach like Luis, he has the athletes, not the psychologists, not the. So if we have better prepared coaches, better prepared medical teams, and we are not talking about them, but in the injuries situations, they have a huge role in the way the things are going. It's very important for us to invest in these persons, because they are in fact a huge motor of all the sporting process, and we must work with them, because if I work with one coach, we are working with a lot of athletes. So it's for me it's a priority thing to do. And this kind of sorry, just to finish, this kind of webinars that you have, I think it's a huge tool for people to pick their toolbox and make it greater, because you have scientific knowledge being shared that is very important for people to accomplish.
Okay, thank you. Anyway,
thank you very much.
Can I just one more thing?
Yes.
Just to highlight one thing that I think it's also important, and you talk very little about it. It was the relation between you talk about resilience, and the relation between the performance in sport and also in day life. So that means. Yeah. For instance, in the younger kids. For them, and you talked, I remember to one of your presentations at the Olympic Games when you were speaking to the parents. Once you spoke about the importance of, if you want to be a high performance athlete, why can you not be a high performance student? So you need. You can be good. So if you work on 100% as an athlete, you should do, or at least
should want 100%. Should want to be, because it's a message that you are putting in your brain. You are 8 hours per day in academic setting. So if you are in academic setting like this, the thing is that you are giving your brain the message that in a performance setting, it is acceptable that you are average, and our brain must understand that all the performance settings are a training context for us to evolve. If I have an athlete that makes effort in academic setting, then he is training the ability to make effort in sports too. So we must. So the diagram that I showed you, that we must work with the whole person and not just the expression of the athlete in a person.
Yeah, exactly. And this is funny. Because I have an athlete that is growing. He turned 18 now, and it's very funny that when I look at him, and he's always been a very, very talented kid, physically and technically very good. And I know that in school he was working 50% of his ability. Yeah. And it's funny that on trampoline, we always struggle. Because it was not, you could see that he has all this talent there, and you can see that it's not always working properly, let's say like this. It was not working properly, or at least the mindset was not the proper one. The funny thing is that he turned 17, 18 now, so he's about to go to the university, so he needs to take care about the grades to get to university. And the thing is that the grades went up like this.
Okay, yes.
So his mental setting for school, it's much better now. So he's not working 50%, he's working 100%. And the funny thing is that on trampoline, is a completely different kid. Better. So more.
Because imagine you are building up confidence. In school, that you make effort, you get result. You make effort, you get the result. And this is the most important equation of life. You must make efforts to get a result. So if I have two settings where I acknowledge this, I become more and more addictive to do this. Yeah. So it's very interesting sample.
This is when we listen to people that talk about this more theoretical, and then when we see it applied in real life, and you see the result, and
whoa.
The other day I was wondering, I was looking at him, and it's like, wow, this is a completely different guy from before the pandemic. It's like he got this opportunity, or took the opportunity for this to get much better results in this and now in trampoline and in school. So it's was very funny for me.
Okay, thank you, Anna. Thank you very much once more for your presentation. I hope this will help our coaches and our community in the preparation of the gymnasts and in the reaching of the goals and dreams, etc., as well. Okay, as we have no more questions, I would like to switch to my presentation again. We finished questions and answers, and next webinar what we'll have in June will happen again on Sunday, 13th of June at 10 a.m. Swiss time. It is dedicated to tumbling, single twisting, double salto in tumbling. That means everything what you need to know about learning or progressions and composition of routines with single twisting, double salto in tumbling. It will be provided by Alan Lavelle from Great Britain, the British lead in tumbling, coach to 11 world and European medalists. And the special guest will be Christoph Willerton, the European and world tumbling champion. And it was all for today. I would like to thank very much to Anna again. I would like to thank also you all for participating. I wish you all the best. Please stay safe, take care, and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Vladimir. Obrigado, Ana.